how to stay motivated in a market that is absolutely just ridiculous. Hey everybody, it's Amber Bafali. Welcome back to my channel. So I've actually spoken to a handful of agents, I would say in the past month or so, and they're actually considering leaving the industry as a real estate agent. That thought has just never crossed my mind. So today, I just want to talk about some ways that I motivate myself in a very tough industry and how I just steel myself up and push myself through, even though it is extremely competitive, it's extremely tough, and I'm up against some very, very, very well-known real estate agents. I'll share my tips that I use for myself, and maybe you can drop some of your tips down in the comment section below, and we can bounce off of each other. We can all use some more tips. Take this time to subscribe to my channel if you like this content. Let me know if you'd like any extra content. I'm always looking forward to work with other real estate agents, so say hi, send me a text. I love to talk if you want to talk about anything. I just think that real estate agents are the coolest people on earth, and I just love networking with them. So step number one for staying motivated, monitor your thoughts, okay? So I treat mental health just like how you would treat a physical problem, all right? So when you go to the doctor and you tell them, oh, I'm not feeling very great, my foot hurts, they don't just immediately start operating on your foot. First, they try to diagnose what the problem is, all right? And so if you're feeling extremely stressed in this market, if you feel like every time you think about work, your heart just starts to beat really quickly, your throat starts to tighten up. What I do personally for myself, I try to check what are the thoughts that are going on in my head whenever I think those things. And what have I been feeding myself? And usually it's, I've been reading some type of news column that has some scare tactic title in it, or I think to myself oh my gosh, what if I don't have any sales? What if the last sale that I had is the absolute last sale and technically I'm unemployed? Or I'm thinking to myself just a plethora of things. Or maybe in my spare time, I've been watching a TV series or a show that's just really down and really saddening, and that can be a huge factor too. So you want to look at the thoughts that you're thinking in your head, and you also want to look at what you're feeding your mind, what you're listening to on a daily basis, what you're looking at on a daily basis, and ask yourself, is this something that's going to rejuvenate me and energize me into production, or is this something that's a bit of a depressant? So after realizing that feeding myself movies and shows and podcasts and news reports that are super depressing, I just told myself, look, I have to manage what I'm watching. I have to manage what I'm listening to. And if I do it, maybe it's once in a blue moon, but I can't watch this and listen to this back to back to back. So once you figure out what your thoughts are, if your thoughts are, what if I don't sell another house? If your thoughts are, what if I can't help this client? If your thoughts are, maybe I'm just not good enough, or whatever your thoughts are, okay? Then it's time to say, okay, these are the thoughts. Let's find practical, energizing, motivating things that will help to feed our systems, all right? And the reason why I say practical, and I put a very huge emphasis on practical, is because there are a ton of positive gurus. Oh, only think happy thoughts. Only think happy thoughts. And it's well, happy thoughts is not going to solve my problem, okay? We're looking for solutions. And so I would say find speakers, find books, find audiobooks, find podcasts, find mentors. Find someone that has done what you're looking to do. Listen to them. If they're a positive person and if they speak in their speeches feed your soul and they feed your drive, and every time you listen to them, you get up and you're just on it. You're flooded with ideas. You're flooded with the motivation to get back out there, to door knock, to cold call, to do whatever you want to do as a real estate agent. Then I would just say continue to listen to them. Listen to speakers that speak about self-development. There are self-development coaches that actually give you practical ways to think about wealth. So if you're a real estate agent right now and you're squeamish about earning wealth, then that could be the thought process that is blocking your blessings. So for instance, and I love my grandmother, but she was brought up in a church that believed that wealth was the number one root of evil, essentially. And if she aspired to have wealth, then that was a negative thing, that was a bad thing. Personally, I believe that poverty is the root of evil, okay? And the greed of money can contribute to evil as well. But poverty, when a person is poor, when the economy drops in certain communities, when unemployment goes up in certain communities, that's when we see a bunch of, that's when we see crimes, that's when we see horrific thefts, that's when we see battering of women and children, that's when we see assault of women. And so I think that poverty is the root of evil. And then when you're a wealthy person, you can offer so much more to people. How can you give? How can you provide? How can you be charitable? How can you donate if you can't even protect yourself, if you can't even provide for yourself and provide for your family? So think about it in that way. There's a wonderful book. It's called The 1 Minute Millionaire. And it's about how to be an enlightened, wealthy person. And the goal is to, as you're building wealth, never do harm to a person. And as you're building wealth, always think about giving back to the community that you've come from and giving back to communities that you want to be an inspiration to. Say, if you're squeamish about wealth, and you're squeamish like, oh, I shouldn't be greedy, or I shouldn't be this. Think about it like this. This world is a world of abundance. Your productivity today can be someone else's blessing tomorrow. And that's what I think. We as agents are providing a value. We're providing services to our clients. And then in return, they are paying us a commission. We're not taking from anyone. We're providing a value and we're receiving compensation. Once we have this vision of wealth, then you can kind of start to create your goals from there. And as human beings, we're very binary in our thinking. And whatever our focus is, that's what we will focus on. If you're just lackadaisically, and I'm saying this from my own perspective, when I was just working as a real estate agent just to get by, my business was lazy. My interactions, it was lazy. And I constantly had this thought of, oh, well, maybe this will be my last sale. Maybe this will be my last sale. And then guess what? It never was my last sale. Never. When I started really thinking to myself, you know what? I actually have goals. I want to help 100 people scrub their credit and purchase their first house this year. I want to help 100 people move on to their next property, their next dream home. Maybe their home that they're in, their family has outgrown it. I want to help 100 people find the next property, and I want to make this a seamless transition for them. I want to remove the stress that they have. And when I started realigning my goals, okay, that's when my perspective, my paradigm of what my job was as a real estate agent, what my place is as a contributing factor to this community, essentially, that's when everything that I did, everything that I put my hands on, it just shifted. Are your goals, oh, I just want to make X amount of dollars this year, right? That to you, that might feel, because it might feel like a shallow goal. But when you realign your goals and your visions to how can you contribute, how can you be a contribution to something, as well as your own personal goals for your own self, then that's when you start to say, oh wow, it's a bigger picture, it's larger than me. Step number 3, if you're in a funk and you feel like a worthless real estate agent, 9 times out of 10, you have not celebrated your small wins, okay? And I'm a huge violator of this one, okay? You know, I could have crazy monumental feats and accomplishments, and then I just move on past them as if they didn't mean anything. And over time, I've learned that I really have to stop in my tracks. If I receive a contract, if a client writes a listing agreement with me, I need to stop in my tracks and really acknowledge that and really celebrate that little small win. And actually, it's not a small win; it's a huge win. Okay? It's all about perspective. Let's say you reach out to your sphere of influence. Stop in your tracks. Celebrate that win that you've had for that day. Let's say you have multiple closings in the same day. Stop in your tracks. Celebrate that. Really, really, really celebrate that. Celebrate that with your clients. Celebrate that back home with your family. My coach, Krista Mayshore, she says that whatever is celebrated gets replicated. And that's so true. If you connect your brain to, okay, if I complete this small task, I'm going to get a sense of happiness, a sense of accomplishment, a sense of celebration, essentially, then guess what? Your brain is going to want you to continue to do those things. So, for instance, I have a long list of people that I reach out to on a daily basis. A long list of people that I prospect to on a daily basis. And prospecting, by far, is one of the most tedious things to do, all right? However, every time I finish my prospecting for the day, I celebrate it. I sit down and I think to myself, wow, girl, you did this. You prospected those people like crazy. You sent them this material. You talked to them about this. We had a great connection with this person. After I finish that prospecting, I'm celebrating it. And then now I've noticed that I just jump right into my prospecting. I jump right into my calls and my video text messages because I get a sense of happiness out of it. It's kind of like when you eat a cake and your body just feels really happy, and so you crave having more of that cake. Well, when you connect happiness and celebration to the small tasks that you do, you're going to do them over and over and over and over again.